Hello, and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and welcome back to Spin Tires. This is the first Spin Tires video I've posted in the past few days, and this is a Cummins turbo diesel swapped Chevy S10 crawler-ish truck. It's not really a truggy because we're still working with a bed, but it is partially caged. And this engine, I am assuming it's a small displacement Cummins diesel. It's not. It definitely doesn't sound like a 5.9 or a 6.7. And not only that, but I don't think you would want to try to fit a 5.9 or a 6.7 into an S10. I feel like that would be really, really, really hard and not effective for off-roading. So anyways, it's probably got a 4-cylinder in it, because honestly, that's really the only other engine that I could see you putting in this thing, is a small displacement 4-cylinder Cummins, which, by the way, a solid axle swapped small displacement Cummins diesel S10 would be a legit off-road rig. It definitely wouldn't be my personal first choice, but I think for a lot of people that like these trucks, it would definitely be something they would be willing to check out. Now, first of all, do I think that you should check this truck out and actually use it for yourself? Yes. And I'll tell you why. This truck is very realistic. It behaves realistically. The tire behavior is very realistic. The grip behavior is very realistic. Everything about this truck, behavior-wise, is very realistic in terms of how it climbs up trails, climbs up rocks, and things like that. The reason why I think it's so realistic is not only is that realism a testament to the way they've tuned it and programmed it and things like that, but I think also the way it's been designed is, like, you guys all know, like, for example, like CCS's trucks, they will demolish any map no matter what it is. They'll go for it, they'll demolish it, and they'll be done. This thing, there's definitely a lot of, like, there's a good degree of challenge here. Nothing against CCS. I think his mods are legit. I think his mods are super fun to play around with. But if you're looking for a more realistic experience out of Spin Tires, this is definitely a good truck to look at, because you're going to be dealing with realistic performance. You're going to be dealing with realistic grip characteristics, and definitely some of the most realistic grip I've seen in a while, because you really have to pick your line. It makes you pick a line that works and stick with it. And that's why with this obstacle right here, I left it in. I didn't cut it out. I left it in because I wanted you guys to see how you really have to figure out what line is going to work, try a couple different lines, and then not only figure out which one will work, but figure out which one will work at what precise angle. So you definitely have to do some thinking, and there's some brain power involved using this truck, which I like. I like the fact that you have to think in order to use it, and it's not just mindlessly pointed at the obstacle, hit the gas, and it jumps over it, you know, much less climbing up it. But anyway, that's not jabbing at any certain mods. If anybody thinks it is, it's not. It's not. It's just fooling around with the mod itself. So the other thing is, there's another version of this truck that you can get. There's two versions. There's the blue one and then the orange one. There are also some other upgrades that I didn't use on this particular one, but they're kind of, I mean, say for example, a tire carrier with a spare on it. There's a couple of, like, you know, survival features and stuff like that that you can add. But I decided to keep the truck a little bit more basic. I feel like it looks really good in this form. I don't know why, but I put the stuff on it, and I was like, yeah, okay, that looks cool. But then I looked at it like this, and I was like, you know what? That looks really good. Just basic with the roll bar, and then that's it. No tailgate. Just looks like a good little rig. And that's why I decided to go with it like that. Now, as you can see right there, slowly and methodically was the best way by far to get it to get up those rocks. And I think that that's, again, that's like the thinking player's way to play Spin Tires, as opposed to the demolish everything type of play style. Which, again, both play styles are valid ways to play. It's just definitely something that you kind of have to figure out which way you prefer. Now, there are a couple times that I did almost flip this truck over, and you'll see them coming up later in the video, but the suspension is flexy enough to the point at which it hits the bump stops, and when it hits the bump stops, it becomes very, very stiff, and it's easier to roll it than you might think. Definitely easier to roll it over than you might think, and I'll tell you why. It's easier to roll it over than you might think because of the fact that when you hit that maximum flex, some vehicles in Spin Tires will kind of keep flexing, which is actually a lot less realistic. It's kind of weird. This, when you hit max flex, you're either going to stay at max flex or it's going to topple over. There's really no long and short of it. It's going to either stay there, or if you push it too far, it's going on its side or going on its roof. Whichever one is, it depends on like wherever the ground is, pretty much. Now, in climbing up this hill, you can see that there's definitely a little bit of body lean, but it controls its weight decently well. If you make a mistake though, onto your side you will go. And the whole reason behind that is, like, again, with the realism factor, this truck performs very, very realistically, and very, 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 very authentically, I think, in my opinion. There's nothing about this truck that doesn't feel authentic and doesn't feel like, oh, I feel like it wouldn't do this, or I feel like it wouldn't do that. There's none of that. Like, if you just think, how would I actually attack this obstacle in real life, that is probably how you would do it in this truck. Now, if you don't think that way, you will either get this thing stuck, or you will get it on its side or on its roof. But you have to keep that realism in mind, and you have to think, okay, if I was driving this truck in real life, if I was on this obstacle in real life, how would I treat this, and how would I go about it? And that's really what you have to do. That's how you have to treat it. That's how you have to be with this particular, precise, exact truck setup. Now, also, considering the looks of the S10, there's a lot of people that don't like them, and I will say, personally, I don't like the way S10s look. The comment section may shoot me for that, but but I'm prepared. I just don't like the way these trucks look, man. They're not particularly aesthetically appealing, and I don't know, again, there's some vehicles that I like the way they look that other people don't like, but that's just something you're going to get in any kind of like car or truck world. There's going to be people that don't like the way something looks. Now, do I think that would I still use this truck despite its looks because of its performance? Yes, absolutely. Like, this thing, functionally, this thing is amazing. Functionally, it's great. This is the only section, really, that I had some trouble with as far as getting the truck to climb. I did end up winching this part, but this would be a really difficult hill for a lot of, like, realistic vehicles. For a lot of realistic vehicles, and especially in real life, this would be a winch hill for most people. This would be a winch hill for most people, primarily because of how steep it is, and also because it notches down, like, perfectly to where it pretty much traps this exact size tire in that rut and then bounces it up against the wall. So you're pretty well stuck here unless you pull the winch cable. But once you do that, you're 100% good. Once you do that, you're going to be up the hill fine, no problem. Now, I'm considering using this truck on dirt time and seeing how it does in the park, like seeing how it does in, like, on the flex ramps and things like that. I feel like there's going to be some obstacles in there that it won't be able to manage, but it will be an interesting way to see, you know, how this truck actually maxes itself out and maxes out its suspension, maxes out the geometry of that suspension. So definitely might take it there sometime soon. But again, also, my main PC that I normally record Spin Tires on and other PC games is in the shop right now because I was having some issues with it, and basically I dug into it to try to fix those issues, and every time I tried to dig into it and fix something else with it went wrong. So I eventually decided I didn't want to screw it up in some, you know, really bad way. So what I did was I took it to a local shop, and hopefully they have a diagnosis and a fix pretty soon. So I took it into the shop yesterday, and they said the latest they would get back to me by was like Thursday morning. So hopefully they get back to me by Thursday morning. Hopefully they can fix it by Thursday morning. If they can, that would be amazing, because then I could have it back before I go out of town again, which would be like a massive help, because currently I've been like, every single video you guys have seen over the past few days has been made on my laptop. So to not have your primary working PC is really iffy for sure. Like there's something about it that's like, oh yeah, you didn't realize how much you used it until you're working on your laptop. But again, once that's back, the schedule will be back up to normal. The Spin Tire schedule will be back up to normal. That's also the other reason why you've been seeing so much more console stuff lately. But once my PC is back as well, there will be more not Euro Truck Sim, American Truck Sim multiplayer, which I am loving playing, by the way. It's just I haven't been able to play it lately because my computer hasn't been working. So, and in hindsight, I probably should have taken it into the shop sooner. I would have much preferred to take it into the shop sooner, I think. There's definitely something to be said for taking it into the shop, and not being stubborn. Now, I get it, yes, there's definitely part of me that was like, okay, I know I can figure this out, I want to figure it out myself, I can fix it. But there's also a point at which that just becomes stubbornness and hard-headedness and prevents you from getting things done. So there's definitely a bit of a double-edged sword to that. But this truck, again, back to the truck, I know I've been off topic for a couple minutes, but this truck is awesome. Definitely think you should check it out, especially if you like realistic vehicles. This is definitely one of the most realistic vehicles I've used in a while. But if you guys also enjoyed this Spin Tires video, don't forget to leave me a like. Tell me in the comments down below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later.